So welcome everybody to session number 3 of the 401k Expedition series presented by Plan Design Consultants. Today we're going to be diving into the world of 401k sales meeting prep. Kind of think about the Allen Iverson practice. We talk about practice every time I think about preparation. But before we get into the specifics of preparation, just some quick housekeeping items. First off, please don't worry. I won't pull a Chad. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, not sorry. We promised everybody a 30-minute presentation or less. I'm going to go with the or less. I'll take $1, Bob. Also, huge birthday shout out coming out tomorrow to our main man, Justin McNeil. Happy birthday, early birthday, buddy. I hope everybody can flood his DMs. They can flood his text messages at 5 o'clock in the morning. Do what you got to do. Make sure you wish him a happy birthday. Shameless plug. This week we've got Retireholics, same time and place, Thursday, 4:30 p.m. Our guest this week is Stephen Wilkinson. I'm sure you've seen him on LinkedIn, his beautiful family, his content, but he's the CEO of K-Quote, if you don't know, and the founder of 338 Investment Fiduciaries. Should be an exciting conversation. Excited to get him on the couch and have some fun. So please register, come check out Retireholics if you have some time this Thursday. And a reminder, just once again, Justin's our main man this month. We've got the 4th part of our Expedition series hitting you on Tuesday, March 17th. So in exactly 2 weeks from right now. And Justin's going to be the guest, not the guest speaker. He will be the speaker. And his topic, and I'll let you kind of formulate what you think it's going to be about, be a record keeper matchmaker. So looking forward to that myself. But anyways, again, thank you all for coming today. Let's get started. Let me first tell a little story. Okay, if you read my blog post, you may already have an idea where this is going to be going. If you haven't, let me go back in time. It's August 4th, 2018. It's 4:30 in the morning. My wife, who is due in 3.5 weeks with baby number 2, lets me know, hey, I think baby's ready to come now, enter the world. And I say, perfect. I love it. I'm excited. It's a little early. And I'm prepared, right? I have prepared the list in my head of what I need to do. I need to make a couple phone calls to the people who are going to be looking after our daughter, who's 4 at the time, pick up our dog, things of that nature. So I make some phone calls, need to pack a bag, right? Baby's coming early. I wasn't fully prepared, but I know what I need to prepare. I've got to get this bag packed so that way we've got things to take to the hospital. And my last job is to make sure that my wife is okay, she's got what she needs, and that I safely transport us from home to the hospital. So that way I can do what everybody in my shoes wants to do, which is tell the doctors and nurses, please be the experts and handle this situation. Well, all of that got completely turned on its head when in less than an hour, my son was in my arms, welcome to the world, in my bathroom as I'm shirtless on the ground with paramedics beating down my door. Okay. Like I said, I was prepared to be out of the house. I did not prepare to deliver my son in my bathroom without a shirt on. Okay. So not every situation, I'm not trying to sell everybody that every situation is going to be worst case scenario. But what I reflected upon in that moment was, there are times at which when you prepare, you can avoid pure panic and utter chaos of what is to come. When I tell you that when I walked into that bathroom and my wife was in a state of shock and I was on the phone with 911, My brain wasn't functioning. I had no clue what I was doing. I was scared. I was in panic mode. Okay. So I think that applies a lot to our professional lives. Why would you want to enter into a meeting, a Zoom call, unprepared and have to face potential chaos, confusion, right? So today, as we move forward in this conversation, I'll refer back a little bit. I was born in. So any opportunity I get to bring it up, I'm probably going to do that. But I want to use your time wisely today, and I want to avoid the chaos and confusion of that instance of my life. And I would like to discuss why we must prepare. Okay. And in my mind, preparing has three very distinct areas: the initial prep. Okay. And by the way, when I'm referring to preparing, again, if you saw the topic of this webinar today, it's 401k sales meeting preparation. Okay. Just as a reminder. So the initial prep, what are we preparing for? What are we walking into? Are we walking into a bathroom about to deliver a baby? No, thankfully not. Okay. So we get to avoid that surprise and we get to plan ahead. We'll talk about what we can do to do that. Strategic prep. Okay. Now that we have information, how are we going to use it? Right. I like to refer to these as the tools you can have, the tools in your toolbox, if you will. I would have loved to have the basic necessities of clean towels in my bathroom when I delivered our baby. And I think a medical degree could have helped me as well to know when the baby came out if he was okay. But, that's nor here nor there. And also, the third part would be prepare to deliver. Of course, pun intended. Like I said, I'm going to wrap this in this entire time. Don't drop the baby. That's the one and only thing I remember the 911 operator telling me when I was screaming at her. Again, I'm very sorry that I did that. So no pressure on anything, but the preparing for your delivery is going to allow you to shine in that moment. So let's jump right into the initial prep, right? I'm not talking about your fact-finding sessions, your basic meetings. We are talking about a live opportunity, someone who is going to be interested, ready to have this meeting and set up a 401k plan. Now, let me be very clear here. There are two very distinct types of meetings that we're going to be walking into in the world that we operate in. You're either walking into a brand new startup plan opportunity, or you're looking at, which will be on our next slide, surprise, surprise, no spoilers here, will be a takeover or existing 401k plan. Okay. Now, there's a lot of overlap between the two, as I'm sure most of you will recognize and have gone through before. But I think it's important to know kind of the mindset to have when preparing for each. Okay. So when it comes to a brand new plan, we're really looking to determine specifically what a client needs, right? Right now, they're a blank slate. They don't have anything. We get to help customize and fit something to their needs. Think of it as a shopping list, right? And when you go to the store, you have a list of things. You're going to make some dinners. Double check it before you leave to make sure you've gotten everything. I want to emphasize that double checking part. And the reason why is back having been doing this now for over 10 years, going on 15 years with PDC, by the way. I ran into a couple instances early on in my career where I would walk into an opportunity thinking I was prepared. And I would go in there assuming we were going to talk about setting up a plan. Little did we know, they had a 401k plan. So we learn early on how to make sure we double, triple, quadruple check those things, right? Go out to the Department of Labor, search for a 5500. You won't regret it. Okay. Now, specifically, you're preparing for this 401k plan opportunity. It's a startup plan. You want to get in there to consult. You need to gather data, right? Pretty self-explanatory as far as why, but it's crucial to know what exactly are the pieces of data that we need, right? People hear this all the time. a company census, right? That is the holy grail, as my colleague Chad used to call it, of gathering information that is pertinent to the demographics of the employer that you're sitting down to talk to. Drilling down even further, what type of tax entity are we talking to? Is it a corporation? Is it a sole prop? Is it an LLC? How are they taxed, right? That is going to be crucial to us being able to properly design a plan. Ownership structure, relatives, as far as husband, wives, kids, other people. We need to know those data points so we can accurately show clients what the best options are going to be. Thinking ahead, a question that probably doesn't get asked enough, knowing it ahead of time is going to help the analysis process is who's the payroll provider? Payroll is the backbone of the 401k plan. It's where all the information is exchanged. Knowing that can help your analysis to determine, is there technology that we can be utilizing to make this easier? And some questions that you want to bring up. If you can get the answers, great. It's kind of like extra credit, but why are we having this conversation now? And also, for your own knowledge, who are you meeting with? Is this a decision maker? Is this the initial, kind of HR person who's having this conversation? Now, let's switch gears a little bit. Talk about takeover plans and existing 401k plans. Initially, we were trying to craft a list in order to determine what the best options would be for the client. Now we have information that's going to give us a full picture potentially, right? It's just a matter of asking for the right information and thinking of it like a puzzle that's sitting on a puzzle table that you need to find those last few pieces, right? We can kind of gain an idea of the type of plan opportunity that we're running into, but what information do we need to really make sure we can put those pieces in the right spot? Okay. Fee disclosures. I'm sure you've heard this a million times. If you want to be fancy, you can call them by their technical names, 408B2, 404A5. You're not going to make anybody go, oh my gosh, you're so smart for knowing those things. Every provider, service provider, record keeper, bundled provider, payroll provider, they all have to provide these disclosures. They all have different names. Some of them just call them fee statements, right? Some have more interesting names. Shout out to Capital Group a long time ago. They had a pamphlet where it gave you all the different record keepers and all the different disclosure names, right? So those are going to be very important. That's going to have a lot of the information that we're going to utilize in our preparation to make sure that we can understand what this plan is and what we have to, and what they currently have, excuse me. The additional components to our preparation, again, I'm not going to read through all of these. I just want to be clear, right? We can ask for as much as we can, so that way we can make sure that we are able to analyze and show alternatives, right? So it's going to be things like, hey, do we want to look at design? Or if we do, we're going to need an adoption agreement, right? We want to take a look at, are they offering cross testing? Do we want to look at the census to determine, hey, maybe they're a fit for a cash balance plan to add to that? Once again, looking at the payroll provider is going to give us another, arrow in the quiver to make sure that their current structure and their current provider can integrate with their payroll provider. Big takeaway here is obviously we want to know what's working and what's not, right? So if we can get that information ahead of time, that's going to be great. Pain points are fantastic, but I want to be clear here. Not always the best option is going and talk negatively about the plan, about the advisor, about what's going on, because that client is the one running that plan. It's okay to focus on the positive as well. Tell somebody what they're doing right, and then just show areas for improvement. All right. So now that we've addressed what exactly are we trying to gather, what information do we need in order to feel like when we step into this meeting, we are prepared, okay? We've gathered this information. You might have a bunch of email attachments. well, what do you do with all this information, right? You need to be strategic in your prep now. You've gone from initial gathering to now utilizing this information. So in I'll just be, kind of selfishly here, in our world as a third party administrator, TPA, I would call us a focused 401k partner, right? Where advisors can lean on us to take that information and provide them with some tangible information or deliverables back. Okay. Now, I don't want to make this a commercial about that, right? But I want to be clear that your preparation with your partners is crucial because you may want them to be a part of the meeting. This may be an opportunity where it's focused on certain areas based upon pain points. So you really need to lean on those partners to make sure that they can give you information back that's going to be helpful as you go into that meeting. In addition to that, right, there's record keepers out there too that they're a large part of this process, and you're going to potentially look out to benchmark these companies against one another. You're going to look to these companies to say, hey, I've run into this opportunity and they aren't having any success with certain areas with their current provider. What can you do differently, right? So leaning on focused 401k partnerships like a TPA, like a record keeper, is going to give you, again, an additional area of preparation that's going to let you go into this meeting confidently and talk to those key points. I'll give a little shout out here to JD, who's in the chat right now, and I don't know if Tony Davis is here. Sorry, I'm not really paying attention to the chatter. Not as easy to do here as it is in Retire Honks. But artificial intelligence, right? It's kind of the wave of the future. Shout out waves. Where there's a lot of tools out there. We don't have to go through all the different names and all the different options that you have, but these tools are going to be relevant, and it's going to be, I think, something that you've got to have in your toolbox moving forward. Okay. It's, for me, it's an efficiency, right? You can have AI analyze data for you in a matter of seconds, right? It can help you build out an agenda. It can help you build out questions. Obviously, it's not replacing you. You're the one who has to communicate all of this. So you can't let it be your voice, but allow it to help you prepare in areas that maybe you want to focus in on and have a more thought out procedure for that. Okay. Now, your toolbox tool should be focused on you. All right. Easy for me to say, we've built out a library of helpful materials and deliverables for our advisor partners. But your materials, spend some time, prepare a presentation that's custom to you, but also custom to your opportunity. I know it's trivial. Throw on logos, put on names, put in specifics. That's going to show somebody, oh, they went the extra step and they actually took a look before they came down and had this conversation with us. I think that the other part I like to mention is when I, again, first started doing this, I would sit in meetings where an advisor would bring in, 5 different record keeper proposals and show them independently. Again, at Plan Design, like, we've created a way to merge all those together. So that way it's more cohesive. Again, it shows a level of sophistication to actually take the care to pull out the relevant information and be able to provide and communicate that back to your prospects. The third prong in my approach here to preparation is prepare to deliver. And ideally, I hope we're not delivering this in a bathroom, right? But now it's where the rubber meets the road to a large degree. You've put in the time and effort. You did the initial gathering. You strategically put something together. that was deliberate, right? How can you now bring this to life, right? What is the expectation from the person you're delivering this information to, right? And these are things that I just want to say internally and kind of crafting your message are things that you should be thinking about, right? Define to yourself what this meeting should accomplish, right? Is it to immediately take this plan over? Is it to gain trust and rapport, to be a consideration for a future meeting as they evaluate options, right? Hone your message. How do you approach 401ks? What are the things you're going to do for your clients? Again, I know it sounds simple, but not a lot of people spend the time to do that. And they get caught in a Zoom meeting of just repeating the same things that others are talking about. And know exactly what your role is. It's very important, right? It's once again something that if you are willing to put in the time and effort to do all this preparation, then obviously you're focused, you're ready to help. And so this should be second nature to go in and talk about what you can do for them. And when you go in, have that conversation, your prep should let you guide this conversation with ease, right? You've done the homework, you can prepare, specific questions. I think a lot of times people get caught in the talking at people. I'm going to talk at you. I'm going to tell you all the things I can do. No. You've done the preparation. You know some of these things. Allow them to answer some of the questions that you've come up through your analysis. I mentioned this earlier, and I truly mean it. Highlight the positives. Show areas of improvement, but don't forget about the positives. Don't be a negative Nancy. No offense to any Nancy out there. Sorry that you got put in that position. And super, super, super important. Know what comes next. Don't get caught off guard when someone says, now what? Right? Understand what is the next step? Whether that be, hey, we're gonna sign paperwork. We're going to put a meeting on the calendar to go over maybe some of the areas that you were wanting to focus in on and gather some additional details on throughout your meeting. So I want to end this on a note of if you don't prepare, right? Like I said, in my experience in delivering a baby, I wasn't prepared for that. And it was chaos, right? In the world of 401k sales, a meeting without preparation is going to feel generic. Client's going to feel that. You're going to know that. So, let's try to avoid that from happening first and foremost. You're going to have to use assumptions when we could be using specifics. Assumptions lead to confusion. Assumptions lead to questions that you're likely not going to be able to answer. And it takes you down rabbit holes that you don't need to be in. And ultimately, I think a lack of preparation likely loses you the opportunity to win this business in the first place. So if we want to get around that potential, then let's spend the time, prepare, as simple as it is, but get yourself ready for that meeting. So here's a little bit of fun. Now that I've gone over, basic preparation, if you want your meeting to go smoothly, as I keep referring to, make sure you prepare. And trust me, it's a lot easier than delivering a baby in a bathroom. This right here above me is a thing that my wife came up with the idea of, I believe. And we take a picture with our son every year on his birthday of him reenacting his birth in the bathroom. He doesn't really know that yet. But as you can see, as the years progress, first off, he's getting big. And his facial features are starting to change slightly. So let's recap here. And I said his facial features were changing. You can see in this picture, he's not happy. He's really not happy. But he's 7 years old now. He was born in a bathroom. And matter of fact, he gave a speech or presented something in his class the other day, and now his friends know. And then he came home and told us that some of his friends were born in the bathroom too, which I'm just being honest, I don't believe him. Anyways, really quick recap here. We're on the expedition series, so do a recap. So go grab a granola bar as we venture into the next steps here. What do we take away from this? Are we stepping into a new 401k plan or existing 401k plan? Like I said, it's a shopping list or it's a puzzle. I want you to fill up that toolbox, use what works for you, leverage partnerships that work for you. Don't just do what everyone else does. Find the best the best options to make your life easier, so that way you can continue to build your 401k business. And your delivery, excuse me, there will reflect your preparation, right? And I'll just say, don't be Mark at 4:30 in the morning delivering a baby. Okay, be prepared, go in there confidently, and I promise you, it won't be chaos in the end. And last but not least, in case you were late, which I'm just going to say, you were late. Shame on you. You don't get any CE credits for this. Take it up with JD. But some reminders. I mentioned this earlier. Our next webinar occurs on Tuesday, March 17th at 10 o'clock with Justin McNeil, Retireholics. This Thursday with guest Stephen Wilkinson. Please check it out. If you haven't already joined the Retireholics, I think you'll enjoy it and see a lot of value. And I think Stephen's going to bring a lot to the table, and you probably want to learn from him. And just as an FYI, because I've gotten this email a few times from some of you who might be here right now, all of our webinars are recorded and they are housed, and you can go watch them. Eventually, this one, I guess, if it is valuable, JD and Brandon will allow it to be recorded and put on the website. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. But I just want to thank everybody. By the way, stuck to my promise. We're under 30 minutes. Chad, you're right. That time flies by. And also, yeah, way different than Retireholics. But thank you all for coming today. And just leave you with this. The expedition shall continue. Thank you, everybody.